Well, I was down here doing a few adjustments on the old D6 Cat, like I'm doing the tracks and doing a little bit of wiring on the machine here. I glanced over to the D4 and the jack hole that I left jacked up against the tracks there to roll it ahead the other day was, well, it just dropped on the ground. So I'm thinking that it's free, it's thawed out in there, so we can maybe do that this afternoon too. We'll just jack it around and tighten up all those flange bolts on the steering clutches. Well, this morning we'll just move on out to the D4 here. Get it in focus. There we go. It is not the afternoon of that day. It's like 3 days later, and the snow here is pretty much melted off. There's none left on the roof there. Bring her down a little bit. Okay, so we're going to pull that plywood off. Take a look inside that rear end there to see if the flanges have actually rolled backwards, because over on the side here the jackal is laying in the snow. All right, and for sure I believe that this line was up here more so, and this line definitely was up here. So yeah, this is rolled back, so it's above zero. So that's what I thought. The mechanism inside was frozen, like iced up, because it was below zero. So now we'll go ahead and get our wrench out, and we will go ahead and tighten up all these, jacking it ahead with the jackal. All right, and for sure I believe that this line was up here more so, and this line definitely was up here. So yeah, this is rolled back, so it's above zero. So that's what I thought. The mechanism inside was frozen, like iced up, because it was below zero. So now we'll go ahead and get our wrench out, and we will go ahead and tighten up all these, jacking it ahead with the jackal. I got this ratchet assembly strong bar, which I really like. It doesn't have a big head up here, and you change directions up on the top, a big bulky head. Just got a little swivel like that, and you change directions with this little thumb wheel down here. Works awesome. Anyway, I'm not gonna torque wrench on here, but I'm just gonna go with what I feel is good, and we'll just continue on. Oh, that's tight too. Okay, and again, I do have marks on so I can tell these are the start. We're just gonna get our jack going. We'll just give her a few jacks here. Oh yeah, she's turning. I thought maybe it was froze up again. So we just got to roll back those two that we did. Yeah, which would be this one. We can go a little further. Okay, we'll do this set and the other set. We're going to keep on going around 2 at a time, either side. Then we'll bring you back later. Okay, we've gone all the way around. I'm just going to go a little bit further ahead, just to make sure we bring them lines up so we can see them. And yeah, here's the just coming up, the 2 bolts. So that's where we started from. So we're going all the way around both sides. Up next is I'm going to pull one at a time these locks, fold over locks. And I'm just going to straighten them up against a good solid piece of steel and reuse them. I know they should be new, but I don't have new ones here, and I don't have the material to make them, so I think we'll be all right just using the old ones. I already straightened out 2 of these fold over locks. There's not too much left of them for sure, but I think they will suffice for one more, or for this install. If it was a machine that's going to be used a lot, like I wouldn't, I'd use some new ones, that's for sure, but this is going to be over the next how many decades before it hits the scrap dealer, because I'm sure eventually one of these years it's going to. For all my running around, I believe that these are going to not fail. Probably at most an hour a year, maybe. As long as I have them, it's not going to be used that much, and anybody else that buys it, I'm sure it's not going to be used that much. So these are going to be just more than good enough. Whatever the torque is, I'm not sure, but I know it's good and tight. All 4 bolts are on these cages, bearing cages, caps. Fold over locks are, well, for as damaged as they are, they're hopefully going to last the hours that we're going to put on it. And all tightened down. So the next step is to get our brake bands on. 4 bolts, pins, keepers, either side. Get these assemblies in to operate our steering clutches. Clean up the casting on top here, and then get our lid back on. Oh, I forgot. We better do the pumpkin as well. That's the main thing. We got to put the bevel gear cover on, and then put our top on. Before I put these top halves of the brake bands together, these are pretty rusted up on the threads. So I'm just going to spin them apart, wire wheel the threads and put them back together with some grease. Try to get them back to the same place where they were, but we got to adjust these brakes again after when it's all said and done anyway. So I'll put it close to where it was, and then we'll have to adjust the brakes. A little stiff to come out of there, but after I wire wheel it and grease it, I'm sure it'll be fine. Get some grease started in there so it will chase it down. So there'll be grease in the body of that nut. And then we'll just get a nice liberal amount on the threads here. There, I think that's going to keep them lubricated for another few decades. Okay, I got this one band in place, pinned at the front, keeper pins in. I used the same keeper pins on this side because they're used once, but they're not weakened or anything, I don't think. So I think they'll be just fine. Got these 4 bolts in. Now I had to put this on twice. I thought I was going to outsmart everybody and put the pin in first and then connect the 2 halves together, but that cannot be done. Have to put the 4 bolts in, join your bands together first, and then put the keeper or the pin and the keepers in. It's no harder one way or the other to put that pin in. So, and then this here little handy device, I have discovered that it comes in pretty handy, recovering those nuts that you drop down into the case there. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. See if we can get it done just as easy. Well, it looks like it's going to be quite a struggle, so I'll just bring you back when we got this thing together. Might be at this for a while. Okay, I think I got the right plan of attack here. Goes on just like that. But that took a lot of doing. I had worked on them and tapped them and whatnot, and ended up by Figured I better take this piece back out and check the threads on them bolts, and sure enough I had to dress them. And in doing so, they were totally seized up against this here band. So when I dressed them up and cleaned up the threads, the bolts, they started to move inside their little sockets there. So just gave enough to come through there. So now we can move forward. They're just little 1/4 inch common grade 5 probably, and so you don't need too much torque in there. You'll just pull them apart. Okay, this here is an interesting little feature. I don't know if I should leave that in there or not. It's pretty, looks like she'll handle it. It's been in there for a long time now. Let's just put her back in there. All right, pin keepers in, bolts all done up. Now we can move on to the next phase, but I think we're just going to take a break, have a coffee or something. Okay, lunchtime is over, and I already went and got ahead of myself, put the pumpkin in place, cleaned up everything, and put the little caulking in there, and you know, to take up some gaps there I think might leak. Got some oil running around in there. So we will just carry on and tap this down a little. Hopefully it's going to all go into place. Don't want to hit it too hard. It's not a heavy casting. Tap down far enough, we will just, these aren't factory, but these flat washers are there, so I'm just going to put them back. I think they're probably a little heavier flat washer. These are kind of on the thinner side. I think they're a little... Okay, that's in there. So now we'll go after these assemblies for the what do you call them? Steering clutches. We'll call them that for now. But anyway, yeah, get the assemblies for the steering clutches in, and then we'll have to clean up all this here mess and line up for our hood, but that's, or our lid, but that'll be for another video. We're just going to get these assemblies in here for now and call her good for today. We got other things to do here this afternoon, so let's get all that stuff over here and get on that. To start with, I got these two main rods going in. That's going to capture all the washers and the fittings and whatever it takes there to make this damn thing work. Okay, now to figure out, I got these all laid out, all the parts laid out here that I'm going to need, except I run out of split keys or cotter pins or whatever you want to call them, so I'll just be able to get it in there, all positioned in. Starting out with there's a bunch of miscellaneous washers, so I'm just going to put this ugly one on first. That'll go there, and then these are going to go on leaning out. So put that on. Have to make sure that we have our throwout bearing in the right place. It's got to be oriented up. There's a couple of troughs on it. These throwout cages got to be oriented so they're facing up. They got a trough here and there on either end, but there's only going to be one oiler here and one here. So the oil goes down and it travels across the channel, gets into the bearing. Either way you want to have it, but here the machine is made. There's an oiler on top of the lid. You pour oil in it and it diverts into these two areas and puts oil into these bearings. So anyway, that's what we got. We're going to put one more. Whoop, now we got our bearing is going to leave on us. But we got that in there, so we'll just go straight across now. So that'll lock that into place. We won't lose that orientation again. There. And then we have this is the oiler, which when it's all in place, it's going to line up with the right place. And then here's your second one, and it goes in. Second arm for the throwout goes in that way. And then we got one last washer goes on the end of the shaft. And then we have to have, can you see that here? The end of the shaft has a hole for the pin to drop off, of which there was no pins in here. It was just captured by the winch body, and it was captured in there that way. But I'm going to have just some small bolts put in because I don't want them rolling around and this getting out of, it'll put this out of position. So it has to be anchored in the upright position. I was confused there for a bit. I got it in backwards. So we will pull it back off, turn it around, and there. That is the correct orientation. So it'll just slide and nest itself on that bearing cage. Then I'll put this other washer on there and move this shaft right through. Oh, like so. Next is this little directional oiling funnel. And then it can go right on. And then we have this other rocker assembly that goes on. And then the last is that the remaining washer. Now on the first side that I put together, I was wondering why all these pipe wrench marks are on this end here. And that is, so once you get this thing together, we'll slide it in to position, just tap it in. There we go. Just have to get a little bit more forceful. Okay, now once it's in, and I don't have enough cotter pins, so I need to put cotter pin on either side of this assembly, on either side of this assembly. There's a position here, it's going to lock that into position so it sits in this position, and another one in there. But the reason why these marks are there, before you put the pin in here, you can turn this around about a quarter turn so you can bend the ends of your cotter pins. So that's why that's like that. And then got to remember to get your top piece in before you yeah, there we go. Get that piece in before you put your cotter pins home. So anyway, I can't go any further with it the way it is. I got to go get some more cotter pins. Even I won't put nails in, especially in this here situation. I don't want anything to drop out of position. This thing come out of apart without any pins in these two cavities here, but they need the pins there because these big shafts will roll over and it'll put this in the wrong position so it won't get oil into the cups. So it has to be in this particular position, not canted either one way or another. So anyway, that's going to be the end of it today. I'm going to put my tools away and put the cover back on her, and I still have to find my adjusting mechanisms here. I can't find them in my ammo can here, so they got to be somewhere. Probably on the cat here. I'll have to take a look around and we'll find them. So I got to get those into position first, get some cotter pins, clean up the gasket surface, and put the lid on her. She's coming around. Okay, that's all we got for today. We'll catch up to you later.